traveling, doing a lot of work. I didn't really know then what Viral Virginia meant to me, and I didn't know how big it was going to be. Like doing that, my brother had got killed by the police in Roanoke, Virginia. You come to Viral Virginia and see a lot of positivity. Depends on what you're looking for. You like where I live right now, where you see me at right now. The KKK still actively has rallies like 17 minutes from my house. Oh yeah, bro, for sure. Like I gotten death threats. I probably say if I had to put a number to it, I'd probably say at least 30.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are expanding to look at the state of Virginia as a whole, and who better to help share that story than the man of the people, dancer, creator, influencer, and creative marketer behind Viral Virginia, featuring on local shows like the Off-Road Podcast and the Frame Show. Viral Virginia, welcome to the podcast.
How you doing, bro?
Hey, man, I'm so excited to have you on the show today because, I first started seeing Viral Virginia pop up on my Instagram feed. And, some of the most viewed and engaged clips on the internet right now about Virginia, it's just really captivating. And it's almost like this world star meets fail army of Virginia. But really, as I dove deeper into your content and messaging, it became very clear early on that you're more than just a funny meme or fail page. Yes, you are a comedian, absolutely. But you're also an advocate, promoter, and entrepreneur. And we are so honored to have you on the show today.
Hey, I appreciate that, bro. But yeah, man, definitely not just a meme page. We do a lot of stuff out in the community. We do events. Pretty much anything you could name of. I tried to make Viral Virginia a home for anything Virginia related.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to hear from you, Viral. Can you take us back to those early days when you were in that preteen phase of figuring out YouTube and making dance videos? Take us back and walk us through that process.
So it was actually crazy. So I was in a dance group called Kings of Fame when I was in like seventh, eighth grade. It actually started in fourth grade, but we started like winning talent shows and stuff at like seventh and eighth grade. And then after eighth grade, we like converted into a jerkin crew, which is a footwork dancing crew. So we went from doing like full body pop locking and all that, and we went over to doing just footwork, and we formed a crew called the Heroes. And that's really when the YouTube stuff started. Like around my ninth grade year, I was like probably like 14 years old, and we started recording videos, but nobody knew how to edit it. So we had a camera. My friend Dorian had a camera, and he would record our videos, and we would all dance on camera. But nobody knew how to edit the videos. So I was like, one day I just told him, let me use this camera. Like, let me take it home with me. I'm gonna just try to do something. So one day I took the camera home, and I was on YouTube for like it wasn't YouTube at the time. What we had YouTube, but what I was editing the video on was something else. I can't remember what it was. But so I'm editing this video, and it's taking me like all night. Mind you, I'm still in school at the time and stuff, so I had to go to school the next morning or whatever. It took me probably like 10 to 12 hours to edit this video out, and it was called The Heroes Go Hard. And once it finally got finished buffering, I just uploaded it and went to school. And throughout like that day, people was like saying that they seen it or whatever the case may be. The week went by, and a lot of people was just like liking how we was dancing and things like that, dancing in the road or whatever the case may be. So it made us kind of like popular in the city because they had never seen stuff like that before, where people was just these young kids just taking over the street. Like we'd go dancing in the middle of the road and stop traffic. We'd go like we go to the mall and like dance and be like flipping off of stuff, and the kids in the mall will stop their parents and like look at us and ask them to like, can they show us something and stuff like that, until it eventually became like, and that was like ninth and 10th grade. And towards the end of high school, towards the end of our high school career, uh we started doing music. And you know how like when you graduate, you kind of like split up from your friends.
Yeah,
Like
some go to college, some go to work, some just, stay in the basement. It happens. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So that's kind of like what happened with the Heroes. But we all still friends, but everybody had their own stuff going on. So it's kind of like we all went our separate ways. But I stayed in tune with doing my things on the computer. So I was editing all of those videos and stuff like that. So I just kind of kept doing it. I didn't have videos to edit at the time, but I would like just find stuff on the internet and I would just play with it in whatever media maker I had on my computer at the time, because it was back in the day. So we had like Windows Media or Adobe. I don't know what it was.
I
Whatever it
think
was,
what it called, like Avid Media Player or something.
maybe something.
It would take I've heard it took anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to like buffer a video once you've edited, whereas like Adobe Premiere now is like 10
Instantly.
minutes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so I used to have to wait, bro, like hours for these videos to get done. But long story short, man, that really pushed me into the media world because I liked just the attention that we was getting at this age. You know what I'm saying? We were getting booked for shows still in high school, and things like that. So I wanted to stay in that field. We started doing music, and the music didn't go as good as I wanted it to, but we did have a couple viral songs. And then eventually, man, I realized like Virginia was a small market for just talent in general, whereas like rappers, dancers, whatever the case may be, we just don't have
Mhm.
like, because of the state is so different or segregated. When I say segregated, I mean like not necessarily segregated, but yeah, segregated. Like
It's
no,
segregated, or some people might refer to it as regional, just because of the vastness of the state. I mean, if you live in Roanoke, you're not going to go to Virginia Beach every weekend to go check out the beach, right? You're
it,
probably going to go to Tennessee or somewhere a little bit closer.
exactly, bro,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And like the people in the northern Virginia part of the state even talk different than the people from southern
That's a
Virginia.
whole nother world, Nova. Yeah.
So they have to like, we have to meet somewhere in the middle. So I realized that, and I was like, dang man, it's really hard for us to get coverage on big platforms like Say Cheese and World Star, because we don't have a Virginia specific Virginia sound like Atlanta or whatever the case may be, or we just don't have Virginia. It's just too different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm gonna come up with something that can be a platform for us, because you know at the time we was dancing and doing music, and I feel like we wasn't getting enough coverage from the media. So I tried to come up with something, and then in the midst of me doing that, my brother had got killed by the police in Roanoke, Virginia.
Mm.
So that really like put a battery in my back to try to do things on social media, because I'm on the page trying to reach out to like just anybody who could help with this case, attorney generals, lawyers, everybody. I'm just reaching out to them, like sending them the case, like different stuff about it or whatever the case may be. And I just stayed consistent with it. But at the same time, I kept promoting and posting certain Virginia content consistently, like over like a year, like before I made my first $5 for promotion. But yeah, man, after all of that, 3, 4, 5 years later, here we are.
Wow, viral. First off, I'm so terribly sorry for your loss, and appreciate you sharing that. And that's such a terrible thing in our state that we battled with since since the beginning, right?
Right.
And I want to highlight something too that you mentioned, because a lot of our listeners might be a little bit on the older demographic. I love my older folks, my grandma and grandpa's out there. So this is a comparison I think might connect and resonate when people hear editing videos and creating media. Yes, it's fun. It's very enjoyable to create music, and it's a dance, but it's almost one of those things where at 13, 14, it's a way to earn a living, and it's a way to make ends meet, similar to that of, back in the day of collecting milk cartons or
Yeah.
stacking grocery carts, or those older school adjectives of learning to fix a car. Now it's learning to edit a video, learning to promote a message. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest disconnects I've seen with audiences online, especially in the older demographic, that we as younger creators might not have communicated more effectively than we could be. And that is the connection between promoting a brand and messaging is more than just a hobby. It's the stacking carts, it's the collecting milk cartons to hopefully earn a living, and also to put a message out in the world that our families and our friends in our community can be positively impacted by, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think like you said, man, it's really just a new day and age. Like uh it was a lot of hard labor being done back in the days, you know what I'm saying? And now it's kind of like easier for people to be able to have control over their situation and how they want to make money or even what they want to do. Like you can pretty much now in 2024, if you have a cell phone, you can pretty much do what you want to do, you know? You just have to have that mindset and know, like, have a plan. You can't just get on social media and be like, yeah, I'm an influencer today, but you have to have a plan.
Yeah, let's talk about that next viral because in a day and age where everyone has a cell phone and everyone has faster editing platforms and a lot of AI features that edit for you, it's easier now than ever to post. And with Facebook and Instagram having over 1 billion new posts daily from
Right.
bots and real people included, it takes a lot of work and effort and really grit and determination to stand out in the audience and also to create and preserve your messaging. Can you tell us a little bit more about how Viral Virginia came about? I know you said that was roughly 3 years ago. I was recording this in 2024. And what were those early days like when you were, not only editing, but also figuring out what Viral Virginia meant to you?
So the early days, bro, honestly, so now I'm more like public with it. So in the early days, I was very, very, very private. Like even like the people that lived in my house didn't know I ran Viral Virginia, and sometimes they would be on Viral Virginia. Like, dang, how did I get on here? But the early days, man, it was really like, uh, not yet, but it was really like hard because staying consistent when you don't really have that push. You know what I'm saying? So waking up every day to make 10 posts and post them online and only see one or two likes, you know?
Mm.
But so it was kind of hard in the beginning, but you can't let it stop you. You just gotta stay consistent and then you'll see like the difference over the time some days. But in those early days, just editing videos and traveling, doing a lot of work, I didn't really know then what Viral Virginia meant to me, and I didn't know how big it was gonna be. Like at that time, I was still kind of like, I guess you could say at that time I was still kind of doing this for myself, like
Mhm.
to like trying to get my brother's case seen and to try to get my stuff heard. Like I said, we was making music and dancing and stuff at first. So when I first made it, it was really about me and me trying to get my stuff seen and my family help or whatever. But as like as I had it for a while, as I had the platform for a while, I started to realize like, man, this a lot bigger than just me or anybody. Like this is, I could help the whole state with this. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think it took me like maybe probably after I made my first $5 off the page when I realized like, man, people really can utilize this to help them out. You know?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And Vira, I appreciate you sharing that too, because it wasn't an overnight sensation. It wasn't,
Oh no.
those viral videos of, a cute dog, cooking in the kitchen or some weird stuff that you see online. It was, something a lot bigger and more meaningful. And I think for a lot of creators out there too, the more meaningful and impactful it is, I think in a lot of ways, the longer it takes. I mean, you look at, pre-social media, I look at a lot of political figures, on both sides of the aisle that had to do a lot of groundwork, a lot of
Mhm.
foundational work to really build a branding and messaging to have be in the spotlight for 4 years or so to help hopefully make an impact in the world. And so looking at that why, the understanding of this is bigger than me, this is more than dance videos, what exactly is next for Viral Virginia? You've been on a couple of shows. I understand you have a new website, merch, and promotions coming out. Can you tell us a little bit more about your products and services, and also what somebody can expect when engaging with your branding? And then, of course, we'll get into some fails.
Okay. So yeah, man. So as far as products and services, so we pretty much offer anything, but mainly marketing and management help for artists, any type of creators, businesses. So we have millions and millions of reach and engagement, so we can reach out to a lot of people throughout the DMV area, outside of the DMV area. We do shoot music videos, interviews. We got the podcast, the Viral Virginia show, starting next month. Wait, what month? It's April. Okay, yeah. So next month, the merch, which is we plan to launch the same time as the show, as well as the website. Man, we got a lot going on, man. I was just on
That's incredible. That's huge. I mean, a website, a merch launch, and also a new show. Is the show and the merch, is that going to be kind of in the same vein of Viral Virginia, of continue to promote businesses, or is it going to be a little bit more of your independent messaging going out there to kind of influence the different projects you're working on?
a little bit of both, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely going to stay Virginia related. Like I'm bringing a lot of Virginia guests on the show. It's uh no certain person that you might not see. Let's put it like that. Like you could literally come on the Viral Virginia show, turn it on, and see anybody on there that day from Virginia. You might see one of the top athletes in Virginia. You might see one of the top activists in Virginia. You might see one of the top strippers in Virginia. You might see one of the top congressmen. I don't know, but
Sure.
anybody.
So anybody from any walk of life, as long as they're living, working, and conducting business here in the state. That's incredible.
Yes, and not even just conducting business well here in the state, but I guess you can't say that because if like say if Jay-Z came to Virginia to do a show
We're not
and
going
he
to turn down Jay-Z. No, never.
exactly, you know what
As
I'm
long as
saying?
he
So
brings on Beyonce and all the Texas songs, we're good. Yeah, she can come along
exactly.
too. Yeah. Love it. Love it. So when we think about Viral Virginia and people are checking you out online, there's a lot of content you produce for promotion, as you mentioned, from anyone from a stripper to a congressman or an entertainer of sorts that really kind of broaches any sort of lifestyle,
Right.
desire. Now, one of my favorite parts, and I'd love to get in this to you now because this is how I found your page, and it's a highlight in a lot of ways. I think of Fail Army and World Star, those clips that you know they don't need any more context because the moment is it's so raw, it's so brash, it's so human. Do you mind if we look at a few clips and maybe you can walk us through what made you select that clip or maybe a little bit of
Yeah,
context behind it?
for sure, bro. Let's do it.
Perfect, perfect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here, and I'm gonna add some sound.
How the fuck? God damn, I wish I was under that bitch. Free insurance. Yo, hold on, did they flip across the wall?
So in this one, we have a vehicle that has
that
flipped.
Shit crazy. God damn, I gotta get over it.
And this man is losing his mind. Fire,
So
Virginia, what was going on in your head when you saw this clip? Obviously, then the obvious of, holy crap. It's anytime you're on the highway and you see something, I mean, you're rubbernecking, everyone's paying attention, it causes more accidents. What was your thought process when you saw this?
So me, when I personally saw this, right, the guy who's recorded it and sent it to me, uh, he told me what happened or whatever. But I was actually driving at the time, so I'm like, oh man, I hope this is not nowhere close to where I'm at. But
So you were on the road. You were like, oh, I hope I'm not
yeah,
going to
I'm
this.
on the road when I'm looking at this specific video, and so I'm just like, man, where is this at? I'm asking him. He's like, oh, this is in Norfolk. I think at the time I might have been in maybe Richmond, maybe I'm not sure, but
Okay.
yeah. So I actually got that video when I was on the road, and a lot of content people send it in to me because they want it posted, and they want the credit or whatever the case may be, or they might not want the credit. They just want it to be on Viral Virginia.
Yeah, yeah. Love it, love it. And as a realtor and as somebody who helps people, move and rent here in the Virginia Beach area, I have to highlight a real estate one. I'm gonna do this one next for you, Viral.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad.
$8,000 gets you in Hampton, Virginia.
And I should shout out these people. This is Michelle Sells It. This is down in Hampton, a $440,000 house. Decent price or nah? And the comment section blows up with everyone's view of Hampton, good, bad, ugly, and then of course, what people think about housing in general. Viral, what inspired you to start posting real estate posts? Obviously, than the classic. People love to look at things that they can have. Like, what else is going on through your mind?
So when I post things like this, bro, it's not only to just ask the simplicity of just asking the question that I'm asking, like, do you think this is a good deal or not? But also, I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone by uh highlighting a Virginia creator and realtor and
Mhm.
showing off their work, and I'm showing off the area as well. You know what I'm saying? So I'm showing off what we have to offer in Hampton for the $400,000 price range, while highlighting a creator who's making real estate content. You know what I'm saying? So notice how I always tag the person, even if they don't have an Instagram. I make sure I put their TikTok, so you know that you can go see the stuff that they do as well.
I love that. And that's such a cool idea because and a lot of times in the creator economy, you think of it like an asset where you create this piece of media, right, that you have in your Google Drive and you post to, the TikTok, the Facebook, or whatever. When in all actuality, with over a billion posts every day, why not leverage and feature somebody else who's made the content that you either don't have the bandwidth to produce, or in a lot of ways for me, they've done it better. So why not just feature it?
Exactly. You know.
So that is so cool that you're doing that. And then a last one for you. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit further down to the archives here and
Okay.
check out one of your clips here that has a little bit more view and a little bit more wider reach to the state of Virginia before we transition to our next section here.
Okay.
So
You guessed it, Virginia. Virginia has the 12th highest GDP in the country and is consistently ranked as the #1 state for business-friendly environment by Forbes. No surprise then that the state has a strong job market with a relatively low unemployment rate. Virginia is also a great place to live if you're looking for a high quality of life. The state has a number of top-ranked schools.
Viral, this is from one of those clever AI bots that, integrate, just standard B-roll clips with some AI voiceover. That's not always a person, but the information is still, researched and relevant in a lot of ways. And I know you do a lot of work to verify that as well. What was your thought process going into this? And of course, what did you think after checking out and seeing all of the comments and the commentary that was extracted when people saw and reacted to this video?
So honestly, when I see videos like this and it's a ranking or a rating, any type of list like that, I always just check it out with a grain of salt, because you know that it's people's opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, because some people, even if it's based off of statistics, it's still opinionated to the fact that if you like this or not. Like, because even certain statistics, like I don't know what, just I can't even think of one off the head, but everything is opinionated when
80% of statistics are made up on the spot. Yeah. 80% of
so
statistics are made up on the spot. Yeah. Yeah.
it's like just opinionated based. But as far as Virginia, but as far as what it says itself, Virginia being #3 in the top 10 best states to live in America. Uh I love Virginia, and I want to live in Virginia forever, as far because I travel so much, so I don't really mind about staying in Virginia. It's one of the cheapest places I ever been. It's one of the most diverse places I ever been. I would rank it #1, but I'm Viral Virginia, so you know.
Yeah, same here. Discover Virginia Beach podcast, and Virginia Beach is the best city, and we love the Virginia Beach area and Hampton Roads, and it's just a great place to visit, hang out all around. I got one more clip for you. This one I find funny, and it's also one of those really like hard conversations to have in the real estate space, because it has to do with one of the most personal decisions that anyone ever makes, and it's living in an area that you feel safe and comfortable in, which is
Right.
of the utmost importance. But with everything in our history and the Realtor Association and people just steering folks left and right, for better or for worse, this is one that resonates with me.
How is he living in Norfolk, VA?
So just someone in their dorm room eating some Chips Ahoy, having a good time, and the banging noises obviously indicating, gunshot noises, right? And
Right.
crime has no zip code, and people do crazy things. And so when you post something like this viral, obviously it's going to get a lot of traction and engagement.
Yeah.
You're going to get your dark humor folks. You're going to get your folks that are, wanting to be activists towards, gun violence and regulation. For you posting this, what thought process goes along with replying to those comments and featuring those artists who are willing to kind of press up against the barrier and pull something a little bit more edgy like this?
So I'm glad you asked that, bro, because I'm glad you asked about the comments, actually, because in the beginning of my Viral Virginia career, the comments played a big part in what I would or would not post. You know what I'm saying? So now that the page is a lot bigger, I don't read a lot of comments. I have to I obviously I don't get to because it's so many, but I just purposely, if I know I'm posting something controversial, I won't read the comments until the next day. That way, and two, just to help you out in your algorithm, don't respond to comments right away anyway. You know what I'm saying? Let them comment, and then you go reply about a couple hours later. That way it brings them back to the post. That way you get more engagement. But just a little trick for the people out there. But yeah, man.
Great tip, by the way. Yeah, because a lot of times you want to respond right away, and they'll heart it or leave it alone, and it just
Right.
kind of it'll flatline. Yeah.
But as far as that itself, bro, if we could, I didn't mean, but if we could go back to that clip for a second, because
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
wanted to ask you a question. Could you exit out of that for a second?
Absolutely.
So beside that clip, you see we have the other house, right?
Yes.
So give me a honest answer, bro. Would you rather live in a place like this that's
Oh, let me get this. I'll hit the audio in a second. Go ahead, Viral.
This is allegedly a haunted house. It's in Virginia. It's great. It's on a lake. So would you rather live in a haunted house that looks great like this, or would you rather live in a dangerous place like the other girl was just in?
Oh my goodness, that's such a crazy question. I love this because it definitely is something that, regardless of the state you live in, you have to think about, whether you're in Texas or California or Atlanta or wherever. It's that age old adage of, do I want to be near people or do I want to have that exclusivity and privacy? And I'll give an example to highlight this. You remember those Goosebump books back in the day,
Oh, yeah.
Viral? Where
Yeah, I do.
you read it and they're in the house and it makes the weird creaks and noises. I think that's just the charm of houses. Religious beliefs aside, I'm a man of faith. So when I think of ghosts and spirits, I think of them in another way. So for me, it doesn't necessarily bother me if something's quote haunted. I like to think of it as the history or the narrative of the home. But gosh, if I want to go out to Dave and Buster's Apex, I don't want to be having to drive, 30, 45 minutes to get somewhere. I want it to be down the road. I want to be able to go to Kroger, get my reward points. I'm a simple man. Get my eggs and everything I need back to the house or delivered to the house. I'm a man of comfort in that way. What about you, Viral? When you see this, would you go to the haunted house or would you go somewhere in the city? And I'll follow up with that and say the crime part, the gunshots part, I think that's just the more people you live in an area, the more opportunity there are for people to make their own decisions, and that's a risk and a choice that I'm comfortable making. Yeah.
I have to agree with you, man. I agree with pretty much everything you said because I actually live in the mountains now. So I like the privacy and I travel a lot, so I don't really I have the problem with where I want to go and things like that. But sometimes when I'm at home and I'm not traveling, I'm like, dang, I need to go to Walmart or or whatever the case may be. I'm like, shoot,
I need some toilet paper. I need some snacks.
Yeah,
whatever the case may be. Yeah.
You gotta have gas when you go home because you got a long way to leave out and stuff. But to answer the question, bro, I'm big on like a higher power as well. You know what I'm saying? Because a little backstory: I was a foster kid, and I lived with like 6 or 7 different families, and most of them families were like they were all different. Had all different religious beliefs. So me growing up, I just didn't know exactly what was true. I just knew that something was there. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say that I believe in spirits and things like that. And I got 2 dead brothers. So anytime that I hear noises or like some crazy stuff happen, I just think that I automatically go with, okay, that's just them, you know, like that's them making that noise. Or if I almost wrecked my car and something happened and they, oh, that was him that saved me, you know, that's just always how I've been. So I would probably much rather stay in the haunted house than somewhere where I would have to worry about gunshots every day, especially being Viral Virginia. I don't think I want to deal with that.
Sure. And I'll add an asterisk to my response too, because you know, I haven't just lived in Virginia Beach. I've also lived in Portsmouth, Suffolk, Norfolk as well. So I get it. I've been in and I've sold houses in all the cities too, Newport News, Hampton. I get it. I understand. So just for some context. Viral, thanks for sharing that, and I appreciate that too, because I think us as creators, regardless of a specific pinpoint, there's this thought process of providing value, providing credit into the world, depositing that goodwill instead of just taking from it. And there's nothing wrong with taking. I love getting Amazon stuff and purchasing stuff. We're consumers. Right. We're consumers in America, and I get that. As honest as I'll be and transparent of my futility, but as creators, I think it's even more so impressed upon us to have those messages and just leaving it for the comment section to talk about.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Viral, I really appreciate you walking us through some fails, and I want to talk about your viewpoint next when it comes to the content, because I don't know if this is intentional. So I'd love to kind of land the plane here in this part of our conversation. Viewpoint of the platform, it's almost like a contrarian view of the state and the world here in Virginia in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean that in the sense of, you're challenging popular beliefs, like that video where the farmhouse and the gunshots in Norfolk, and also, the affordable housing, which is a real thing. And of course, we can get into the changes in our climate and everything that go with that too. That's a real conversation. But for those of you listening, just go check out our episode with the Elizabeth River Project to hear from a true scientist and the data behind that, because I am in no way equipped to feature that. So I'll shout out that episode for your viewing pleasure later on. How would you describe the state of Virginia right now, Viral? As a whole, as from the community lens of the posting, the content, the businesses, and how we live, work, and play in the state?
Well, honestly, I have to say, so like I said earlier, it's still like everybody does their own thing, the north, the south, the west, the east. But the community itself, I would say just to have it depends on where you are, you know what I'm saying? So as a whole, Virginia needs like unity, I think. If we want to be like, and it depends on what we want from Virginia, like if we want to see more Virginia actresses and athletes and rappers or singers, country music stars, whatever the case may be, then we need more unity as bloggers, influencers, artists. Like we need to come together, do these festivals and things like that. As far as like the community itself, the dangers and the things going on within these communities, I think it's bad things going on everywhere. I think that people are broker now than they have been in a very long time. As far as like just inflation is killing people's pockets. So it's a lot of things going on to get money, like people are doing things to get money. That's why we have a lot of social media influencers. People are trying to do different things. We got a lot of drug dealers now. We got, people are selling fentanyl. It's a lot of, so drugs is hitting the street crazy, like fentanyl killing a lot of people. The community itself is like, depending on what you're looking at. And if you ask me through a social media eye, the community probably looks a whole lot worse than it is. But
yeah,
it's never really that bad. Like, social media makes things 10 times worse than what it is in real life. But I think that if we get on top of it, like quick, then we can handle some of these things that's the bad stuff that's going on in these communities. But as far as just the community of Virginia as a whole, it's kind of hard to just uh to speak on that. But like if we talking like Glenn Youngkin or I don't know.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Viral. And I asked that question intentionally because I feel, and let me know what your thoughts are. I feel that Virginia has yet to identify who it actually is.
Oh,
I
that's
feel like
definitely
it's one of those states and those communities because we are doing our different things. We say we want to connect and grow together and support each other, but the actions don't always reflect the outcome. But I think that's true of any community. So I won't put down Virginia for that per se, because we have had a lot of people on this show that are doing things to include other people from, I'll mention the Elizabeth River Project. Tomorrow, I'm having a conversation with the local lender about housing and cost of goods and services, and a lot of great people who are wanting to make that impact. But in a lot of ways, we got to get ahead of it, keeping in mind that social media really magnifies things times 10. So what do you think, Viral?
And that's why also, like you said, social media magnifies things times 10. That's why I kind of don't I don't do all just bad stuff. People come to my page and think, this is a news page. Where's the news? Like, no. This is not a news page. Like
It's not a news page. No.
most of the things you see on the news are all bad. Like usually a bad weather, bad storm, a shooting or something. Like you can come to Viral Virginia and see a lot of positivity. Depends on what you're looking for. You can find information that you won't find anywhere else. You can find um restaurants. You can find just pretty much anything, facts about Virginia. But yeah, man, like people come and they expect a certain thing. Like I really just want to like obviously I gotta post the bad, like we do have to show the bad things that's going on, but we can't just show the bad. I like to make people laugh with the jokes, a little satire sometime. We promote Virginia comedians and things like that, just so we don't have to dwell on all the bad things that's going on. Like I know Virginia, it's always bad stuff. Like the 6-year-old that shot the teacher, you know what I'm saying? Like we have huge viral stories and things that we obviously have to cover, but at the same time, like we can mix in some comedy, we can mix in some satire, we can mix in some promoting some female, whatever the case may be, whoever I don't know, but basically I just don't want my page to be, or my platform in general, not even just the page, just the platform, the YouTube, whatever the page is, the platform of Viral Virginia, we don't want it to be depressing at all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and it's not. You guys do a good job on that, and I appreciate you mentioning that as well. Just a good balance, right?
Yeah, good balance, bro. Like, I don't want you to like sometimes, like you was just talking about the comments, and like sometimes the comments on the post will get people riled up, and it'll be a post about, all right, so just take this for instance. My very last post was a post about OJ Simpson passing away from cancer. And that's a touchy subject, like OJ Simpson.
Yeah.
So like
did he do it? Yeah, that's the big question.
so the comments are going crazy, but now I haven't posted yet, but my next post will probably be like a meme or something to make people laugh. You know what I'm saying? Just because like it's just how I do things, bro. I don't know. I just don't want people to be too stuck on this sad stuff. We can go back and forth from being sad to being happy, and then we'll be sad again later tonight. But
Yeah, I think that's a true testament to in a lot of ways how media is to be consumed.
Right.
Because I see a lot of people reshare certain things, and it might be ultra positive, and it's kind of like, oh, that's not how real life is, or that's like this extreme of really sad and depressing. It's like, I don't feel great. So just having this balance of media consumption, and of course, with the asterisks of you should take some time away from social media too, to go out to the mountains and to have some time. We had who is it on here on the show? Definitely go check out the archives at Discover Virginia Beach. But we've had a few artists and authors on the show who highlight the importance of getting away from the creation process and getting into the process of either self-reflection or healing that is incredibly incredibly rewarding for, your body and your soul, regardless of your viewpoint of, what that may entail.
I'm glad you said that, bro, because that's very, very, very important, especially like when you work, this is your job, you know what I'm saying? When you work on social media and you spend a lot of spend a lot of hours on the screen, separating your social media life from your real life is one of the most important things, because if you allow them to fully like intertwine, because obviously I'm ViralVirginia in my real life, but it's a balance. I like to get off social media for hours sometimes and not make a single post. Or when I go on vacation, I like to, because it can really mess up your mental by listening to what everybody else's opinion of you, or what you do, or what you got going on, or just because you post something like because I posted OJ Simpson passed away, I support domestic violence or murder. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't say RIP to OJ without being labeled as this type of person. You know what I'm saying? But just that, and I'm just using that as an example, but
Sure.
just those type of things is small reasons why you could take a break from social media, because when you getting stuff like that every day and death threats and all of this and all of that, you're like, okay, take you a weekend break and come back, and I promise you it'll help. You'll feel a lot different.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned death threats, and that may be like a passive for some people, but when you post stuff that people are passionate about, political, religion, or just values in general, dark sides of our origin of people and how they are come out through the comment section as well.
Oh yeah, bro, for sure. Like I gotten death threats. I probably say, if I had to put a number to it, I'd probably say at least 30.
Wow.
Since I've been doing ViralVirginia over the last 5 years, maybe probably like at least 30 to 40, maybe 50 death threats, all from just different things. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of rappers, a lot of like I guess ex-political guys, you know what I'm saying? The political people like really do a lot, bro. Like, that's when I really started to realize that my platform was bigger than I ever thought it would be, when I had politicians and things reaching out to me, telling me about what not to speak on or what to speak on because of the influence I had over the state, right? Or one time I had like a ex-mayor from Charlottesville reach out to me about one of my posts that just so happens to be at like a Charlottesville park, and it was like a gunshots rang out and it had kids scattering everywhere, and I posted the video, and people's parents was hitting me up like, "Hey man, I'm glad you posted this. My son was at this park yesterday and I didn't even know that this happened." Mind you, the mayor is like suppressing all of this information. Like, it's just a lot, bro. So different death threats, a lot of fake pages. Just so you just gotta stay on your P's and Q's. What's the word I'm looking for? P's and Q's, that'll do it. Gotta stay on your P's and Q's.
Absolutely. And just using your platform for for information, right? And understanding it is social media. So there's going to be a skew or a view or lens that you can take, and it is that's how the landscape is. That's how they built it.
For sure. Like, and people got to understand too that like you just said, man, you looking through social media, like what we looking through right now. We got this box. You see what you're allowed to see, and we don't know what's going on outside of what we're allowed to see. So I could literally turn my phone that way, and I might be in the middle of a party, and you don't even know. But we're on social media right now, and you see what I'm allowed.
You got a good microphone if you're at a party.
Right.
Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah. So Viral, I want to ask another question. Looking at the lens of community, and I really appreciate the messaging and the feedback that you've gotten too, because that really helps inform the conversations we have when we create content, and we let the people decide. It's a public square. So I want to ask another question too, and I'll preface this with my obligation as a licensed realtor to preface that in no way am I promoting any sort of, anything other than my fiduciary duty to my clients in promoting fair housing in the state of Virginia. So I'll preface it with that.
Okay.
Second, given Virginia's history of segregation and the civil rights struggles that we've had, how inclusive are the current housing policies in promoting diversity and equality, in your opinion, for what you've seen throughout the different regions of Virginia?
Okay, so in my personal opinion and what I've seen, it's just like I'd say it's pretty like basically like everywhere else, man. The low poverty places are the places where you'll find most colored people. You know what I'm saying? You'll find most blacks and Mexicans in those places. Most of the suburbs I've been to, like I pretty much been to almost every suburb in Virginia, probably not every one, but I've been to most of the suburbs in Virginia. They pretty much all predominantly Caucasian people. I get looked at crazy in certain places because of how I dress and uh just because of how I dress and my skin tone and stuff. But when people find out who I am, they usually be like, "Oh wow!" Like even now, like still a lot of people, because I don't like show my face a lot. Like I don't just promote me. So
And obviously we're calling you Viral Virginia for a reason too.
yeah,
There's that little bit of separation there that exists. Yeah.
yeah, man. But a lot of people like they thought I would be. I guess they thought I was white or Caucasian. I don't know because of the page or whatever. But that's another reason why I go by Viral Virginia too, because I think my name itself would make people think that I was Caucasian. But to answer your question, man, in most of the areas that I go to, it's the same. Like the poor places are mostly colored people. The rich places or the suburban places are mainly white people or people who can afford to live there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And Vara, I appreciate you bringing this up, and I'll drop a few stats here as far as information goes, just to be a good resource and advocate for those who are looking for different housing opportunities. So, since 2020, we've seen an increase in cost and goods and services of 27%. So that's like your eggs, your bread, your gas. Like it's just gas fluctuates, so that's not a good example, but just general goods and services, 27%. Which is huge because it hasn't come down, despite the inflation being where it needs to be, and despite these companies profiting off of this huge COVID timeframe that in a lot of ways affected people very harshly. And then on top of that, you have these. We've had an 8% increase in housing costs, and we have less than 2 months of inventory. So when you think of supply and demand, it's unless you have somebody who's willing to give you a grant, right? Certain lenders do grants, which happy to link that in the comment section below if people are looking for that, or somebody to gift you funds, which in most cases, if you're first generation, whatever, right, or new to Virginia, that might not be accessible to you as well. So the picture here for housing is really grim right now, just because of the resources available. But I'll also add the caveat of the entrepreneurs, which is why this is why we want to have this conversation with you, Viral. I think it was, don't quote me on this, but I think it was around 31% of workers have some type of gig job that when they file their taxes for. So you think of somebody having a W-2, right? The 8 to 5, whatever. I don't care. McDonald's, you work in town center at a business office, you work for a private contractor, whatever. W-2 job. 31% of those folks also have gig jobs because living's expensive, and you and I both have kids, and kids are expensive. It's like times 4, of whatever you need. They go through so many diapers. Anyways, all that to say, Viral, there's a lot of cards stacked up in the deck for people to get housing, to get resources. So I, of course, want to caveat with, I'm here as a resource for folks to look at, and also to be able to have these conversations in a way that is educational and informative, that addresses the imbalance of the deck, so to speak.
Right. So, well, first off, I'm glad that I think I even asked you already, because I was like, dang, I'm actually Kind of looking for a place now, man. I need to find a new place to stay. So I definitely got to get your. We definitely got to stay in touch, man, so I can see what you got going on. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think that. Well, first of all, I don't even know like where exactly I want to live at. I just know I want to stay in Virginia. Do you have like? I don't even know how real estate and all that. I want to get into real estate. First off, I was just telling my girl this. I was like, man, I really want to get into real estate because I'm tired of renting places. First of all, like I
Yeah.
spent, I spent who knows, bro. I spent like over $100,000 just renting places now, just freaking everywhere. Hundreds, thousands, just renting places. But sure, I kind of got off topic. What did you say?
No, you're good. You're good. We were just chatting housing, and I will mention two things as far as housing go. I love renting. I did that for a season because I knew that renting my monthly rent was going to be less than my mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that difference, I was like, okay, how much do I need to save per month? And that'll get me to where I need to go. As far as like investing overall, I mean, it's a great way to get into business for yourself if you were looking to have a property to, lease or rent out or, use as an Airbnb, as far as housing goes. But, I just wanted to, just mentioning, the accessibility is limited. So just being a resource and using this conversation to promote that, it is definitely something I'm open to as well, for the folks listening out there. But without any further ado, Viral, you got to get back to it, man. I know you have hundreds of videos to post. So to land this plane of conversation here today, I want to ask you two questions. The first is, the dialogue around monuments and historical memory in Virginia really serve as a microcosm for national debates on heritage and history. And I'm curious for you, looking at that snapshot, how do you feel Virginia is doing? And then, of course, the second question is, where do we go from here? Because it's easy to ask the hard questions, around the dinner table, at the barbecue, down at the rec center, and just to kind of talk and banter. But the implementation part is where I think a lot of, individuals and business owners kind of fall short because it's like editing videos in when you were younger. There's no blueprint for this, right? It's just figure it out as you go. Judge people by not the way they look, but the content of their character, and hopefully people will do the same. So what does that look like for you, Viral?
Well, bro. So like you said, you gotta judge people by not how they look, first of all. But so Virginia itself, right? I think that because you asked me, I think we're moving in the right direction. I guess you can say we're moving like we got places removing a lot of Confederate statues, which I don't really like. I got to do more history and like research on the ones that they're even taking down and things like that, and the names the names of the places that they're changing because they're racist names or allegedly racist names and things like that. But I think that all in all, we're moving in a good direction because I was asked a question, right? It's a weird question, but I was on another podcast and the guy was like, if I could go back in time to any time in the world, when would it be, right? And I was just thinking, and we talked for a second, and we was just like, dang, it's like being a black man right now in Virginia is the best time to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to go back any further than right now because it'll always be a little worse as far as like racism and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's coming from somebody who still experiencing racism today, and I got a brother who was killed by the police. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's a lot of stuff like. It's a lot of stuff too. I wish we could have got more into. Like, we might have to do another interview one day, bro. If I could, like, I might have to. I don't know if you
let us know in the comment section below if you want us to continue on with this. We'd love to hear your feedback. But yes, Viral, love to have you back on.
Definitely, bro. But I think for the next one, I might want to come out. I think come do it in person. But Cause it's a lot of stuff like, man, that I was actually getting laws changed in Virginia before I became Viral Virginia, just because my brother was killed by the police, and I was doing a lot of advocate and activist work back then, you know. So I was actually getting small laws changed and stuff then, uh regards to like the dash cam footage of videos and things like that, bro. And the amount of racist racism that's still in Virginia is crazy, bro. Like, people would be throwing stuff at me saying F Black Lives Matter, all type of stuff, like in places like Roanoke, Virginia, you know, Southwestern, you know, like a lot of Southwestern
Yeah.
Virginia. Well, you could come out here, bro. It's still places where you like where I live right now, where you see me at right now, the KKK still actively has rallies like 17 minutes from my house. So as far as like the state of Virginia, like as far as racism and things like that, I think it's moving in the right direction. Obviously, it's not like 1940, you know, but
Yeah.
We still got a lot of work. We still got a lot of work to do, bro. I think that's why I
And
definitely want to.
we should want it, because, and I recently had a baby girl. She's 8 months now, but we're doing it for the next generation, you know, for the 2040 to 2050, you know, to make it better,
bro.
right?
Yeah. And hopefully, like I also just my daughter is 15 months, but yeah, man, I'm trying to make it better for her generation, and also with this Viral Virginia stuff. Hopefully by then, you know, she got a big, huge corporation with a lot of buildings and stuff that she can own, and help change the Virginia landscape in the way that she thinks it's better. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Viral, this has been a great conversation. We've covered a lot of ground here today. And of course, as always with this show, we like to wrap up with a red carpet, rolling out the red carpet for you and Viral Virginia. This is your time to share any final words, messages, or promotions that folks can be on the lookout for as they continue on your digital media journey, and hopefully for another in-person interview with Discover Virginia Beach in the near future.
Yeah, man. So I want everybody to make sure to stay in tune for the Viral Virginia show, which is the podcast show we got dropping next month. I'll release the dates on my Instagram, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys check out You Got It All Reality TV. I'm gonna be on a special episode of that. I think that's airing in July. Stay in tune with the YouTube page, Viral Virginia TV, just because all the content goes to YouTube. The TikTok page, the food reviews, everything, man. Shout out to everybody doing their thing in Virginia. Shout out to all the artists. And I just want to wrap it up with justice for Keontae, man. Oh, and shout out to Discover Virginia Beach, man, for having me on. I gotta say that as well.
Absolutely. Viral, this has been great. Thank you for your time, sir. We appreciate it. And of course, thank you to our dedicated listeners for checking us out on another episode of Discover Virginia Beach. If you're new to the show, I interview locals every week. Check it out, what there is to discover in Virginia Beach, from local businesses, activists, voices, and of course, all the fun things to do here in the Virginia Beach area. We hope you enjoyed this show, and we'll see you all in another episode very soon.
Back in my element, I'm in my element, 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 don't care about relevance, I'm doing me, I'm in my element, we the new delegate, tapping and see. I don't sit and worry about who's on. Back in my bag, there's a new on. Kettle on my wrist, it's a two-ton. Direct flight out to London. Then might slide out to Lisbon. Crossing borders, getting my stamps up. Travel light, everybody can come. Lay low, I don't want attention. Only show what you see. Never no cap in my rap. When I rap on the track, got me feeling like I'm in the league. Ease. I'm in my element, don't care about relevance.